Hey, what's going on, family? I'm here with the man, the myth, the legend, my favorite chef in the whole world, and pretty sure he's gonna be your favorite chef too. Chef Kenyatta has accomplished so much in Chattanooga, speaking worldwide actually. He's the owner and operator of Neutral Ground, which is a fantastic restaurant, and I'm here to introduce him to the world and let you guys know what he has coming. He is the winner of Chopped. Started out there, he's the winner of Chopped. So yeah, Chef Kenyatta, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing well, man. I really appreciate the intro, bro. It's really kind of you, man.
Man, awesome.
Yeah.
So how did you get in this cooking game? Like, tell us a bit about your story.
My passion for cooking really began early in my childhood with the love of my family gatherings. You know, I grew up in a big family in Louisiana, in New Orleans more specifically. And holidays were usually spent, Christmas and Thanksgiving, surrounded by a big meal. Mm-hmm. My mom was the center of that because she usually prepared those feasts that we ate.
Right.
And she comes from a family of 9, and usually, whether it was Mardi Gras, Christmas, or Thanksgiving, my family would come from out of town, whether it be Detroit or Milwaukee, and Louisiana, and we got to spend time together. So those are like some of my fondest memories around food, and one of the reasons why I really love cooking. I love all of the things that surround cooking and the service aspect of taking care of people.
Gotcha. And I noticed you said Mardi Gras. So for people that don't know, you are a New Orleans native.
Mm-hmm.
So give us a little bit about your New Orleans background and how did you mix that flavor with I know you're going into like the West African cooking and you kind of combining the two. Give us a little bit more about that.
Well, another passion of mine is I love history. And somewhere about 5 or 6 years ago, I really began to become really interested in learning more about my family history. And that led me to, start to be more interested in the cuisine of West Africa and the diaspora of those people that came from those places and the influences that they had on American cuisine. And it led me to apply for a grant through the James Beard Foundation, which I used to go study the cuisine of some places in Charleston, spend some time in Charleston and going down to Savannah and spending some time down there just eating in restaurants and stuff, and also going to West Africa. I took a trip to Ghana in 2018, and then the next year I took a trip to Benin, West Africa in 2019, just to learn about the food and learn about the culture that influenced the food of those people that came to the States. And I'm taking another trip next year to Cameroon to kind of take another deep dive into the cuisine of West Africa.
Wow. So here in Chattanooga, like I said, you're phenomenal, but I know you're known for this dish called Red Red.
Yeah.
And it kind of has that twist, that New Orleans flavor in there, as well as that West African flavor. So tell the people about that dish here.
Well, Red Red is a dish that I first encountered when I went to Ghana in 2018, and it was one of the first things that I had eaten in Accra, which is the capital city of Ghana, and if I'm remembering accurately. But it's a bean dish, and it's so reminiscent of all of the bean and rice dishes I ate growing up in New Orleans. New Orleans is very famous for red beans, and people usually ask me what's one of the favorite things that I enjoy cooking or eating, and I kind of give them a simple answer. I don't give them a big complicated dish or something really fancy and stuff, because most chefs really like simplistic food because they cook, really complicated things in these really fancy restaurants. So, red beans and rice is that dish for me because it exudes comfort. It's humble, but it's very powerful, and it has a big story that comes along with it if you trace back the history of the dish and the meaning of the foodways that came along with the people who created that dish.
Wow. So today, I know you're going to show us a dish that you're going to have. It's your smoked brisket Yakamine. So can you tell a little bit about that dish? Because that's the dish they probably going to see.
Yeah. So Yakamine is a dish that I grew up eating in New Orleans, and it kind of harkens back to the time post-slavery, after the Civil War ended, and some Chinese immigrants moved to Louisiana to help build the railroad, transcontinental railroad from New Orleans to Houston, that stretch of the railroad, and they settled there. And anytime you have a large migrant population come to a specific place, they bring their culture, their food, and their religion. And Yakamine is one of the dishes that was left over from those people, inhabiting New Orleans. And over time, it became creolized and became a thing, our version really specific to New Orleans. And it's a dish that I wanted to pay homage to when we opened NutriGround, because I wanted to tell a story of the foodways in New Orleans, of dishes that aren't widely known outside of the city.
Right.
And we tried to recreate that dish with time and place in mind, that we're here in Chattanooga. And so we added smoke to the dish. We make our own noodles. And I think we really did a good job.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And thinking about like slavery and that period in New Orleans, one thing that came to mind for me is po' boy. Just share the origin of the po' boy with the people, because I'm outside of New Orleans, so I don't really know the origin of the po' boy, and I just feel like you can explain that a lot better than I can.
Well, po' boys are the quintessential sandwich that you will find in New Orleans. They go back probably even before the 1920s, but they became known as a po' boy in the 1920s when there was a streetcar strike in New Orleans, and these former streetcar workers, the Martin brothers, left the streetcar business and opened a convenience store, a grocery store. And they sided in favor of the striking streetcar workers. And when those workers would come, because they weren't working, would come by the store, they supported them by feeding them a sandwich made of a French loaf, a traditional New Orleans French loaf, with French fries and gravy. And what they would do when they saw those poor boys, they would give them a sandwich. And that's kind of how the name came about and how it stuck.
Man, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So your whole experience through like this culinary journey, what information or what advice would you give a young person that's looking to follow your footsteps?
Well, I think one of the things that if you want to get into the food business, I think you should do your research, meaning one, talk to the local people in your community that may be doing the thing that you desire to do, and see if they have some time to sit down and talk with you and everything. I think that's probably one of the first steps. And then begin educating yourself about the profession, so you can go into it knowing or having some anticipation of the things that you might encounter and the things that might be expected of you. Then there's an opportunity to maybe find a part-time job or some work in the business. That might be a good idea as well. And I would say try it out and see how you like it first, because it would be a good idea for you to find out if you want to spend your time doing this, if it's something that you like, versus spending a whole lot of money and time investing in that, and it's not something that you find out that you're really not interested in.
Right.
Then after you find that you have a liking for it and you have an affinity for it and you're good at it, you should pursue other avenues, maybe of getting some further education or moving the next step and working in restaurants where a higher skill level is required to be a part of the team.
Right.
So those are some things that you can start, places you can start.
So the last question, and this is a question that I know the people want to know: how does it feel to be the CHOP winner?
It feels great, man. It feels great. Myself personally and my business has gotten a lot of attention from the success that I was able to have on the show, and I'm incredibly grateful for the opportunity. I'm incredibly grateful for being embraced by the Chattanooga community and everything, because I want to make sure I represent it for us and everything, and bring that $10,000 in that championship home.
Awesome. And speaking of Africa Chopped, you're getting a lot of celebrity attention too. I seen where a celebrity from Black Panther came to eat at your restaurant. How was that experience?
That experience was, one of a lifetime. It was kind of surreal. I remember the night of that service. The server came to the kitchen when Lupita Nyong'o arrived. She said, "Lupita's outside." I was like, "Lupita who?" and she was like, "Lupita Nyong'o from the Black Panther." I was like, "No, you kidding." So I had to go outside and verify for myself. And sure enough, she was sitting there at table 306, in the restaurant, and she had a good meal, and she decided to come back and have another meal with us the next night. And we provided a private lunch for her the next day, and she was so gracious and so kind. She even made a video that most people know about now while she was on a visit here in Chattanooga, and to help promote my business, which gave us a really big boost.
Wow. So speaking of the boost, how could people contact you or get in contact with you or find out more about you through your social media and stuff? Could you share that with us?
Well, you can follow us at NutriGroundChat.com and at Chef Kenyatta Ashford and NutriGround Chat on Instagram, and Chef Kenyatta Ashford on Instagram, both Facebook and Instagram. And you can follow my website, at NutriGroundChat.com, and just find, look out for any happenings that we might have, any pop-ups or anything like that, because we're always trying to do something, always, trying to make money and keep what we have going.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you have it, man. We're here with Chef Kenyatta Ashford, my favorite chef, and like I said, I bet he's your favorite chef now. I want to thank you guys for checking this video out, and we'll see y'all next time.